Okay, folks. I wanted to revisit kind of a little demo that I did kind of quickly in the first class. That's just about using primaries to create a study, and I did include that folder of fruits and vegetables to draw from. And the idea is just building up primaries to create that image. So here you can see, like, here's a sketch that I already prepared of avocado. This is what I'm going for. And so this was all completed using these three primaries: our yellow, our processed red, and our true blue. So you can see my my sample up there, or my source image. I'm using a piece of white Stonehenge, and this is a really good subject because it's like it just lends itself really well to this layering of the three primaries, and we should be able to like capture a pretty good estimation of this object using just these colors. So you can see there's opportunities for like blending the green from the yellow at the center to the outside. We can incorporate the red in the color of the pit. So I'm going to start by I'm referencing this drawing. It's also pretty easy to render because it's just like a series of concentric ovals, which is like a nice thing about it. So I have my white Stonehenge. I'm going to start by sketching with my magenta pencil. Create that first oval and the overlapping oval. And on the top one, I'm going to render the pit at the center. And I'm drawing these all really lightly, remember, because I want to make sure that I don't like put a divot in the paper and cause it to telegraph through the final thing. So and on the other side, the void for the pit on the other side of the avocado. How's that? So remember with this process, I always start with my light color. You remember from my like color lecture that I posted for you, if you got a chance to look at it. I start with my lightest chromatic color, so it's yellow, and then I go to my next lightest, which is magenta, or processed red, in the Prismacolor parlance, and finally my processed blue. I'm using true blue, the Prismacolor pencil. So I'll start with my yellow. And what I do with the yellow is I try to identify like areas where there's really bright green and bright yellow, where I know that it's going to be relatively saturated with that color. And then areas like, for instance, where there's maybe a little highlight, where it's catching the light, or if it's sort of an area where it's a little more neutral, I will kind of back off with the yellow because I know that it doesn't need to be that saturated in that area. In fact, some of these areas that are a little duller green, I'm probably going to incorporate my processed red to achieve that. Okay, so let's draw away here. I know that I'll probably render that shadow on the inside of the void of the pit with all three primaries. And I feel like I can go a little more saturated there. You can see it's a little lighter on this part. I know that edge though is probably going to be it's gonna be that bright green, so I'm gonna likely want it to be pretty saturated there. So I'm really kind of almost burnishing the yellow in at that edge. So as for the pit, that's this really warm brown, right? So it's going to mostly be, it's going to likely be fairly saturated with yellow throughout. So like really load the yellow in that. I'm going to save that. You can see there's that highlight. I want to make sure I save that because that's a really important part of the drawing. Helps express sort of the volume of that pit. Yeah, and so that's most of that yellow layer. I like the structure of going from the lightest chromatic color to the darkest, but I try not to follow it too slavishly. Like I want to be able to, like work backwards. Like you're probably going to see me while I draw this. I'll come back to the yellow even after I've layered the blue to kind of to maybe push the color or like help blend it. Like I'll actually use the yellow to burnish it over the top of the yellow and blue mixture to like heighten the green. So one other element maybe before I move on is that the skin, which we can't see that much of because we haven't seen more of it over here. But I'm just going to load the yellow in there because I think that will be important in order to get that dark green. But we'll revisit that, and I have more to say about that. Okay. So, moving in order, I'm going to go to my process red next, right? So, let's see, how am I going to use this? I kind of know from experience that I'm going to want it sort of supporting this shadow inside the void, because when it's coupled with the blue, shading really lightly here, when it's coupled with the blue, it's going to have the effect of just a neutral shadow. So I know it's going to exist in there. I know it's going to, well, it already exists around the edges. The red does, because I use it as my underdrawing. But I know it'll sort of support the blue and the yellow to express that kind of dark green that's integral here. Now moving on to the really important part is the pit. Layer that over that yellow. And interesting thing you'll start to realize when you layer the process red over yellow, you almost achieve like this primary red between the two. And I'm looking at my image and just use this to sort of heighten that cool. The little highlight. Probably gonna be similar. I'm just putting in lightly here because I have the sense that since it's a little duller color there, it's gonna need a little bit more of that complementary color. And I can also, maybe a good opportunity to show you how I can use the yellow to burnish that red and heighten the effect of that, of the process red over the yellow. Okay, so here comes the meat of the drawing here, which is the meat of the avocado. And the effect of the blue layering over the yellow should achieve a green. That very special kind of avocado green. I want it to be fairly bright. a little bit of a neutral, so I might come back and revisit it with some of the red. We'll see if it's just the two. And again, I can maybe work backwards and come back with the green. You can see actually by burnishing that, it really makes that avocado green look real. At this point, I want to try to not to smudge, so I'm using my little scrap paper. Get the green on the other side. Oh, hey guys, I just wanted to, I was having a little technical difficulty today when I was doing a shoot. For this demo, I lost like the last 6 minutes or so of the what I was trying to do. So I wanted to just revisit it slowly and like as you can see, what I've done here is I think the video got cut off right about where I was finishing up with the blue or with the it just started the blue, I guess. I just wanted to show how I had basically pushed those values, and particularly like on the pit of the avocado, like used all three together. And sometimes I work backwards and like I can burnish those first two colors with the yellow. But as I'm stressed, I like the overriding concept of having just working from those with those three primaries. Of course, I could do all kinds of other blending techniques here, depending on what level of finish I wanted to achieve. And then lastly, like I just want to talk about if you were to move forward, particularly like I do like the challenge of like just creating this out of with just the few primaries, but I mean think about using using some of your other pencils to kind of push some of the values, and particularly the darks. And I often use this is a blue indigo pencil. Like I'll use that as sort of my darkest dark. And if I want that to be a little darker, I can combine it with maybe some of the red. I try to avoid using black because I feel like it's just, especially for a color study like this, it's just kind of too abrupt of a change, but that's just kind of personal preference. Yeah. Anyway, so this could be applied to the pit as well, just to maybe make it feel a little more integrated. So sorry I lost a few minutes on that demo, but hopefully it'll give you a little more detail than we got in the original. All right, thank you.